Hi everybody, my name's Skaji,
And I'm Stevie.
And I'm Magna.
and welcome to TN Tarot podcast for February 2026.
Oof.
Yeah, we're coming to you from Books, Beans, and Candles right here in Birmingham, Alabama, and this is the first of two videos, podios. The first of two things we're going to do this month. This one we're going to cover a card. But before we get started, we'd like for you to join us live on the first Friday night of each month. So the next one's going to be February 6th at 6 o'clock, right here at Books, Beans, and Candles. And we also have on the third Friday night, Sips and Stars. It's an interactive astrology event. And the fourth Monday is Magic City Pagans. And that's a different discussion topic each month. And in the end of March, author Christopher Penczak will be in town.
Yes.
Doing 3 lectures, the 27th, 28th, and 29th. Yeah.
Yep.
And the first one is
The Art of Potion Making, where we talk about what potions are, what kind of ingredients and herbs you can use, is it really just all the Hogwartsy type things, or what are the...
What do?
Saturday the 28th is a seminar on curse breaking, hex breaking, which is from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. that day. It is $125. The Art of Potions Making is from 7 to 9, I believe,
I think so.
for $75. And then Sunday the 29th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., also $125, is Evocation and Invocation of Spirits. So I'm really excited for 3 lectures with Penczak.
it's a curse breaking. I'm more interested in cuss breaking.
Anyway.
So anyway, this month's card.
So yeah, this month. Now it's February, and you might expect us to do a lot of Valentine's Day kinds of
the 2
things.
cups.
The lovers.
Ooh.
And but
5 of Cups.
that's really not what we're going to do this month, unless you look at the moon card, as you know, when the moon hits your eye, like a big pizza pie.
That's amore.
It's amore eel.
But another reason that we chose the moon is because we hadn't done it yet. And the moon card it's one of my favorites. And it is because it's about all that deep inside kind of stuff. And
I had thoughts.
in our Rider-Waite-Smith card here, which I'm sorry about the glare, but hey, here it is, large for you. We see the moon kind of shining down, and we have all of this stuff going on, and there's a little crawdad at the bottom of the card, and got two canines, and are often considered to be, one is domesticated and one is wild. And then the path in the center moving up between those 2 towers, which is a frequent occurrence in the majors in the Rider-Waite-Smith card, and that represents the sort of the Kabbalistic path that one would take. Interesting thing too on this one is the moon is waxing. If we think of the sleepy moon face being on that right hand side,
Yeah.
that critter at the bottom, that crawdad, actually represents Cancer, the crab, which is the astrological association of this card.
So then why is there a crawfish?
Because that is how Cancer the crab was depicted in a lot of Renaissance art.
Oh.
Yep.
And the inspiration for this deck was Pamela Coleman Smith, also called Pixie, was inspired both by Marseille style decks and also by the Solabusca deck, which is the oldest known full deck that has fully illustrated minor arcana. Whereas the Marseille style doesn't have the illustrated minors. And so she was inspired by both of those, in addition to, the whatever descriptions and whatnot that Arthur Edward Wright wrote down. So we have that Cancer, that inner watery kind of stuff going on. And the two dogs, right?
Depends on how much you like Jungian psychology. A lot of people will kind of ascribe it to the ego versus the id, the wild versus the tamed, that kind of dualistic side of the psyche of ourselves.
And if we dig into that a little bit, considering that the towers represent the pillar of severity and the pillar of mercy, the pillar of severity is the pillar of restriction, all right, and constraint. And the pillar of mercy is associated more with openness and unrestricted stuff. So if you look at the critters, the one on the left, where the pillar of constraint is, you have your domesticated animal.
Right.
And then you have your wild animal under that unconstrained side. But in this card, they're both working together. What's your take on this particular card, Magna?
So I always like the moon because, much like most of everything in life, the moon is in phases, just as we are on our emotional healing and growth and journey work and things like that. So I always like seeing the moon because it's also spooky and mysterious and spiritual with that moon representation. Very similar in my mind to like the High Priestess. So I like the hidden mysteries in the dark if your only light source is however full the moon is at that point.
Very much I feel like the High Priestess and the moon hold hands a little bit, whereas I feel like the High Priestess can be very like self-focused, yes, but also you haven't quite formed the self yet, so there's kind of that exploratory nature to things. Whereas with the moon, I feel like that's ideally solidified a little bit more by that point. So there's a little bit of that almost cavorting exploration of it a little bit. It might not be fun per se, but there is more of that. You have the language, you have the means, you have the understanding to begin plumbing these depths a little bit more in ways that feel a little bit more constructive than sometimes the High Priestess can, because she's so nebulous at times.
And speaking of that high priestess vibe energy, in the Muka tarot, we have a lady who very much has a sort of high priestessy kind of vibe, the crescent and all of that kind of stuff. She's also sort of in the middle between those two pillars. So we're really getting that sort of middle road, middle path kind of vibe from that. And in between her and the path itself, we have that water, which we also saw here as sort of in between us, the viewer, and the path itself.
Right.
And that watery aspect being those inner depths of our own psyche, our own soul itself.
The nice liminal space.
Yeah. I can't remember, because the figure in the Muka Tarot is one of the 4 seasons, and I think she's autumn or she's winter, one of the two. So kind of really tying into the watery time of the year, if that's your shtick, which is a nice like little like underlaying hint for that particular deck. Because sometimes art decks can be very like, we just stuck that here because it looks cool. So it's always nice when they have that kind of tie-in for me personally, anyway.
Yeah, and the Muka deck, based on the artwork of Alphonse Muka, is not straight out of his art. It's not his art. It's inspired by his art. So it's actually a designed deck, unlike some other art decks where they just took, Klimt's stuff and stuck it on a card.
That's the moon now, because there's a circle in it.
Yeah.
And speaking of circles, this one right here, we've got a couple of critters in this card. This is which deck?
Critters. This is the Fyodor Pavlov deck. And I like the coloration on this one. It has a very like Goodnight Moon kind of vibe on it. It's a bit more of a gentle moon card, because sometimes the moon isn't so sweet, so gentle. But here it does have that kind of more harmonious take on it. Go into that long night a little bit and kind of see what lays within it. And I like that as far as domesticated goes, we can't really tell with this particular animal. It kind of could be either one. And very much, at least for me reading with this deck, sometimes when it presents reversed, it kind of gives that, there's that wild animal, and or here's that hyper-constrained animal. So the context of the reading, of course, but it's a really fun one.
I love the owl that's in the imagery as well, because owls, typically will represent wisdom, learnedness. So sometimes as we're going through the darkness, we have to take up the knowledge that we've kind of used to keep a level head as we traverse.
And owls are also nocturnal,
Hmm?
and they see better at night. So this is that, finding your way through the darkness kind of vibe as well. And speaking of wild critters, we've got the Pulp Tarot, and on this one we've got a couple of Warwelves,
Werewolves.
which it's got a very campy,
Yeah.
horror movie kind of vibe, but it's like they're using their little telescope there to look at the moon to really get in touch with it. And
Oh.
Werewolves of London.
Yeah.
And it's a male and female, werewolf kind of vibe going on. So we have the two critters, but we have that spectrum of whether it's animus, the spectrum of gender, however you want to look at that.
Right.
There's a representation there that fills the thing, but I like that this card also is the moon. I mean, and that's the primary thing there.
Right.
This one's from the Hush Tarot, which is a really fun deck. MJ
Yeah.
Cullinane is a interesting take on a lot of different things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like this one in that the moon is looking at us.
Yeah, the moon's looking at you, and also in this deck, the moon and the sun are like flips of each other, with pretty much the same imagery, honestly. The only thing that really changes between the two, if I remember right, is that they're just different colors, which I really love for the imagery of like them being duels within themselves. Because to me, especially, the sun has that vibe of like, when it's not in its best position, you can... Hello, cats. When it's not in its best position, the sun can have that very like glaring, bright element of like, oh, look at all these pitfalls and look at all this stuff kind of presented before you, and that can be really much. And the moon is kind of the opposite, where it's sometimes gently smooths the blanket over that a little bit, and kind of having these different kind of constraints, these different ideas, these different methodologies in which you have to navigate both is a really fun, like, kind of to have these in this dual presentation of the moon and the sun in the Hush Tarot is kind of fun.
And the crow or the raven in many cultures is seen as a trickster.
Yeah.
But in some, it's also the story of much like Prometheus, that something from spirit that brings something to us. And so we've got those two kind of vibes, and the trickster serves a purpose. It didn't just trip us up necessarily, but is also there as a teacher and as a wisdom guide.
I love the representation, as Stevie said, about the dual nature of the sun and moon in this deck. Because it's a very intuitive deck, I cannot help but see Hugin and Munin from Norse mythology in both cards. Hugin and Munin being thought and memory. This, to me, is Munin with Allfather's eye in Mimir's well of wisdom. So I see memory going forward, because thought feels very much more active, which I feel with like the sun card. So this to me is, recollection in order to move forward.
Well, that's a take I would not have picked up on. I thought I remembered that, but I was mistaken.
Oh, well.
And this last one here is from the Urban Tarot by Robin Scott, and it's a Crowley style deck. But it's very, very different. It's dark. She's standing down in the sewer, and then we've got this sort of stray dog and this alligator or crocodile down there and so it brings in the urban legend kind of vibe. And up above her, what we see as the shape of the moon is actually a sewer cover.
Yeah.
That's pulled back. And if we contrast that with the Rider-Waite-Smith, this is a waning moon, which means we're going deeper. Right? And you can see that ladder that's up above her is all rusted. It's hard to get to that. It's a path that's hard to make, but she's in. And a lot of times when we have to dig down into stuff, we're digging into the sewer of our own self.
Yeah.
And we got to wade through our own stuff. But I like that this take and this contrast, because it's very much has that darker kind of feel, which in the Rider-Waite-Smith, yeah, it's a moon, but man, that card's, brightly colored.
Yeah.
Very brightly colored.
But in this case, there's a lot of subtlety in that card, and I like the fact that it's that waning side of things where we're really moving away from the light and more into our own inner secrets.
I like how, like, just in the card itself, like, from an artist perspective, the use of light's really cool in it. I think that's just, like, a nice little touch. And also contributes to just the feeling of the moon, like, in, like, a little white book sense, too, so that's cool.
Foreboding.
And I really like this one, too. I mean, it's like, he looks like he wants to, you throw a tennis ball, hey, go get it.
Yeah. Go get it.
So, this is the moon card. And a lot of times that moon card has that, it's all about that digging in, turning rocks over. That's in the creek, that's where you find the crawdads.
Yeah.
Is under the rocks. Because sometimes that's what we have to do, is we have to turn over the rocks and get inside.
Yeah.
And that's not always the easiest thing, is when we look at ourselves.
Especially when it's reversed, it's like, stop turning the rocks over. Stop letting other people turn the rocks over. Just stop. Stop being emo.
Yeah.
No.
You can only listen to My Chemical Romance so many times.
No.
I don't think there's too much of that.
So we want to thank y'all for joining us again for yet another one of these where we do the things. And we'd love for you to join us live first Friday of each month at 6 o'clock right here at Books, Beans, and Candles. My name's Skaji.
I'm Stevie.
And I'm Magna.
Safe journeys. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie,
That's amore.